Barton Clarke, the Executive Director of the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, based in Trinidad and Tobago, to make his presentation. Dr. Clarke.
Good morning. I trust that everybody can hear me.
Yes, at least I'm hearing you, and I think others are too.
Well, thank you very much. Let me express appreciation on behalf of the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute for the opportunity to converse with you this morning regarding matters and things relating to the institution that I represent, with particular reference and so on to what it is we are doing in Guyana, how this relates and so on to your objective of trying to improve the issues around trade and investment in the sector. I'm going to speak a little bit about the Caribbean insecurity issues, something about the regional plans for improving agriculture, the present plans, some of what we are doing in Guyana, and perhaps some issues around some further commercialization and things as we move forward. According to the FAO, the food import bill for the 14 Caribbean countries increased from 2.8 billion to 4.75 billion between 2000 and 2018. And it is anticipated that this will grow up to 10 billion in by 2030. More than 60% of the total food imported is in almost all CARICOM countries are imported and so on from countries such as the United States. It is only in the case of Belize, Guyana, and Suriname we are seeing where more than 50% of what is consumed is produced in those jurisdictions. Food production across the region has made way for imports. They are generally cheaper, lower in nutrients, high in sugar and salt, and that is set against the traditional issues that attend agriculture in the region, the high cost of labor, the low productivity that in all of the industries. There's also been some fairly recent transitioning where we lost preferential access markets and so on across the globe, and the adjustments and things necessary associated with that. Accessibility and availability of food has, in a sense, also contributed to great incidence of chronic non-communicable diseases. And in fact, we moved from a situation where we were experiencing high protein energy malnutrition back around the 50s and 60s, and now one thing we are burdened on thing by really consuming more than we really need to. The prevailing challenges complicate agricultural production, lack of investments, environmental threats. Every year I think there are issues and so on with hurricanes, competing interests, lack of technology, poor infrastructure, misaligned policies, and more recently COVID-19, which has resulted in significant disruptions and so on in supply chains. CARICOM is more weakly connected to the global value chains than other developing countries. And this is a position and so on which has been expressed by the newly formed Caribbean Public Sector Organization. The majority of the biggest importers of food in the region are Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica. And like I would have alluded to earlier, the lesser ones would be Guyana, Belize, and Haiti. What are the plans for boosting the agriculture sector across the region? We would have started with a regional food plan back around 1974 at the dawn and thing of the Treaty of Chaguaramas. We would have transitioned through various initiatives, such as the Regional Program for the Transformation of Agriculture, the GACC initiative, the CARICOM Community Agricultural Policy, and then the Regional Policy for Food and Nutrition Security. These are the major trusts and so on that have attended agricultural development in the region. Presently, what we are focused on is the CARICOM COVID-19 Agricultural Food Action Plan, which was approved by the Conference of Heads of Governments when they met virtually back in May. There are a number of short-term, medium, and long-term measures. Short-term measures focus on providing support to maintain the integrity of food supply chains and to safeguard the livelihood of those directly dependent upon the sector. Medium to long-term measures aim to address long-term food security. These include the reformation of the business environment, the removal of the remaining non-tariff barriers, and the development of a cross-border investment scheme. And that cross-border investment scheme notion is where we really want to put some credence to the often vaunted capacity of Guyana to supply the region with food, so that the particular areas in short term would include policy, institutional changes, financing, and investment. Now, what is also significant is that the prime ministers of the region in their conference of heads of governments have established a new private sector organization, the Caribbean Private Sector Organization. This they did in their meeting in Castries in 2019. That private sector organization has had subsequent meetings with the Conference of Heads of Governments, and they have been challenged to assist the region in reducing its food import bill by 25% by 2025. This proposes an increased role for the private sector investment to contain agri-food trade deficit and to reverse the increasing trend in the CARICOM ex-regional agri-food imports. Plans focus on 7 priority investment cases: poultry, meat and hatching eggs, animal feed, meat products, vegetables, cassava, and coconut products, as well as the 8th area of work in progress, which focuses on leveraging regional distribution networks to develop accessible markets for products from micro, small, and medium enterprises. The priorities that have been targeted today would see the displacement of about half $500 million worth of ex-regional imports based upon, and this is based upon the 2018 trade data. So with a CARDI being the CARICOM institution that deals with agricultural research and development, not by itself, because it is supported in this quest and thing by a number of universities. I mean, when CARDI would have been started back in 1974, indeed, at that time we had the University of Guyana and the University of the West Indies, but since then until we now have a university in Belize, and we have several universities doing agriculture in Jamaica, University of Trinidad and Tobago, University in Bahamas, and the like. And we have been challenged and thing to implement innovative, sustainable, climate-smart food and agriculture systems to enable and enhance markets and industry competitiveness. And our charge comes not only from the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas and the community agricultural policy, as to which I alluded earlier, but also from the Council for Trade and Economic Development, which meets every year as an agricultural quoted, which makes determinations. And they have determined that there should be some focus on herbs and spices, small ruminants, roots and tubers, coconuts, and fish. This is under the umbrella of Agriculture, Food, and Nutrition Security Cluster, which was established by CARICOM to help drive the implementation of the Strategic Plan 2015 to 2019. CARICOM is in the process of preparing a new Strategic Plan 2020 to 2030. In recent times, we have been focusing largely on the coconut industry over the last few years in collaboration with the International Trade Center. We have been working on on the development of the coconut industry in the Caribbean, and this includes work in Guyana. So in Guyana, we've been able and so on to train more than 200 stakeholders in various agronomic issues. We've worked with a number of agro-processors as it relates and so on to coconuts. We've assisted in establishing, a genetic bank at the Hope Estate with various coconut varieties. We've upgraded a number of nurseries, and we've worked with. We saw the issue where one of the exporters of coconut water out of the Pomeroon had charges levied against them and so on for environmental concerns over the amount of coconut shells and things that were found in the river, and that precipitated an introduction and thing of a coconut shredder and coconut husk shredder, and we have then out of that developed a business case. And we now see that a number of the private sector in Guyana have made investments to help themselves. Whilst at the same time, we have been working with the University of West Indies and so on, and we've been able to develop biochar from said shells. And now with the mayor and the mayoral system in Georgetown, we're looking and so on to help to clean up the Georgetown area with respect and thing to all of the coconut shells and so on that we have knocking around the place. In addition to that, at one stage, one of the leading exporters of coconut water had some challenges with its market in Trinidad over some issues related and thing to the quality of the coconut water. And we then collaborated with the CARDI, which is the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute and so on in Trinidad, the Scientific Research Center in Jamaica, as well as the Caribbean Public Health Agency. We did an examination and thing of the coconut water that was appearing on the supermarket shelves, what was available on the side of the road, what was available at the farms, and we did an analysis. We looked at the issues, and then we brought in the CARICOM's Agency for Standards and Quality, which then resulted in a revision and thing of the coconut water standard that then would have greater confidence by the consumers that they were able to meet the standards in order to mitigate any issues and so any food safety issues and things that might obtain. Further to that, we are continuing to work with coconuts in Guyana, but more significantly, we've also, part of CARDI's institutional sustainability and so on, necessitated the establishment of a commercial subsidiary. Said commercial subsidiary and so on has been able to lease 5,000 acres and so on from the government of Guyana in the intermediate savannas, and currently that we've actually initiated production. Passion fruit, soursop, and a number of other commodities, with a view and so on to being able to show what is possible, particularly and so on as relates and so on to large scale production that was alluded to earlier as what is necessary. Cash deals with the delivery of agribusiness services. It also deals with production. Like I said, is involved in commercial production. They would have supported the plankton farms. They would have also been having discussions and so on with various entities with respect and thing to mobilizing the necessary capital, because we anticipate that it's going to require a significant capital investment to the tune of $13 million in order to be able to develop those areas properly, so that we can then contribute in a meaningful way to the opportunities with respect and thing to production, to respond to the initiative established by the Conference of Heads of Governments about reducing our food imports by 25% by 2025. However, whilst they are recognizing the opportunities and so on for reducing food imports, given that we're talking about a $4.4 billion market, the countries well recognize that food exports, agriculture exports, can contribute and things significantly and so on to the foreign exchange deficit that now obtains in the region. And consequently, opportunities to respect and things to export are also being examined. There has been some disruption because of COVID, because just on the dawn of COVID and so on, initiatives have been established and things with concerns both in Holland as well as in UK regarding the export of organic melons and passion fruit, but those have been curtailed by the issues of COVID. So have been initiatives and so on where we have have a relationship with Topco in Guyana, and we then want to conclude and so on that we stand ready, able, and so on. We've already had meetings with the Minister of Agriculture in Guyana. We've spoken about the issues and so on that would require our attention. Like I said, the focus is on coconuts. Focus is on expanding the coconut exports. Guyana boasts of exports to Trinidad and Barbados and Antigua, and we've been trying to assist in getting them market access into the United States as well as into the Bahamas. And therefore, we look forward to further dialogue regarding what opportunities exist and so on that would benefit and think from the R&D agenda that is promulgated by CARDI, supported by the commercial initiative that help drive the process and so on and so forth. Thank you very much for the opportunity and so on to engage with you this morning. All the best.